This is an unsolved medical mystery that festered in the dark for 40 years. This story is a testament to a profound medical racism that poisoned the very heart of healing. I suggest you put on your headphones now. The silence that follows these words will be heavy. The weight of this history is best felt alone in the dark. What you are about to hear is not a Gothic tale. It is a true American horror story. It begins with a lie and ends in a grave. It is the story of the Tuskegee Experiment. Our story starts in the year 1932. The United States Public Health Service arrived in Macon County, Alabama. They promised care to a community of poor African American sharecroppers. These men were offered a chance for free treatment. They were told they suffered from a condition called bad blood. Bad blood was a vague term for simple fatigue or anemia. The truth was far more sinister. These 399 men did not have bad blood. They had syphilis, and the doctors knew it. The Tuskegee Experiment was born from this initial deception. Its true goal was to observe the ravages of untreated syphilis. These men were not patients. They were test subjects in a living autopsy. They were chosen because they were poor. They were chosen because they were black. They were chosen because they were vulnerable. The medical racism was not a side effect. It was the foundation. The men were lured with promises of free meals. They were offered free physical examinations. They were even promised burial insurance. For men with nothing, these small kindnesses were a powerful lure. They trusted the men in white coats. They believed they were finally seen. They submitted to painful and invasive procedures. Spinal taps were performed. These were described as special free treatments. The doctors took notes. They documented the slow unraveling of the human body. They watched and they waited. They recorded the fevers and the lesions. They noted the neurological decline. All the while, they offered nothing that could cure. The cure was the enemy of their science. Then a miracle happened. The year was 1947. Penicillin became the standard cure for syphilis. It was a wonder drug. It could erase the disease from the body. This should have been the end of the story. This should have been their salvation. It was not. The researchers made a conscious decision. They chose to withhold the penicillin. They actively prevented these men from finding a cure. Alerts were sent to local doctors. Draft boards were instructed to exclude these men from treatment. The experiment had to continue. The natural progression of the disease was more important than their lives. This is the heart of our unsolved medical mystery. Why did it continue? How could it continue? The answer is a chilling indifference. These men were not considered men. They were data points. They were a collection of symptoms waiting for a final result. The human toll of this decision is a number that chills the soul. 128 men died directly from syphilis or its terrible complications. Their bodies were consumed by a disease that had a cure. They died of blindness and paralysis. They died of insanity and organ failure. They died in pain that was entirely preventable. But the horror did not stop with them. These men had wives. They had children. The disease spread through families like a ghost. At least 40 wives contracted syphilis from their husbands. 19 children were born with congenital syphilis. Their lives were marked by deformity and suffering before they even began. A generation was poisoned, all in the name of observation. The Tuskegee Experiment did not end out of guilt. It ended because a whistleblower finally spoke. The year was 1972. A journalist named Jean Heller broke the story. The public outrage was immediate and furious. The United States government was forced to shut down its own nightmare. A lawsuit provided a small financial settlement. It could never give back their health. It could never restore their trust. In 1997, President Bill Clinton offered a formal apology. The words were necessary. They were also far too late. For many, the damage was eternal. The legacy of the Tuskegee Experiment is a shadow that still stretches across America. It created a deep and justified mistrust of the medical system. It serves as a permanent warning. It shows what happens when science divorces itself from ethics. It reveals the monster that medical racism can create. The mystery is not how it started. The mystery is how it was allowed to live for so long. So remember the names. Remember the 399. Remember their wives and their children. Their story is not a relic. It is a reminder. Trust can be a weapon. And sometimes the white coat hides a monster. The true horror of Tuskegee is not that it happened. The true horror is knowing it could happen again. Follow for more stories of history's darkest chapters.